All right.
Life.
Do not do not weep, maiden, for what is kind. Because your lover threw wild hands toward the sky, and the affrighted steed ran on the lawn. Do not weep, war is kind. Hoarse, booming drums of the regiment, little souls who thirst for fight. These men were born to drill and die. The unexplained glory flies above them. Great is the battle god, great, and his kingdom. A field where 1,000 corpses lie. Do not weep, baby, for war is kind. Because your father tumbled in the yellow trenches, raged at his breast, gulped and died. Do not weep, war is kind. Swift blazing flag of the regiment, eagle with crest of red and gold, these men were born to drill and die. Point for them the virtue of slaughter. Make plain to them the excellence of killing, and the field where 1,000 corpses lie. Mother, whose heart hung humble as a button on the bright splendid shroud of your son, do not weep, war is kind.
Thank you. So the first question is, what is the obvious message of the speaker in the poem? So I wrote, is it okay if I start, or do you guys want to start?
You start?
Okay. So I wrote, the obvious message of the poem is war and its effects. Yep, that's all I wrote. The message. Simple and to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Tevita.
No, you do you, bro.
Yeah. So to me, what is obvious? Yeah, of course. Like it's talking about war, about. I mean, like when I see the word like do not weep, like many times, to me like that's something obvious that there's someone who is crying, right? And um, so like the author is telling someone just don't cry, and maybe like to me the obvious message would be uh like in times of hardships and struggles, pains, yeah, don't cry. I mean, maybe that's the message. I don't know. To me, that's obvious. And yeah, that's me. And Tevita?
Yeah. No. So I mean, yeah. What's obvious is that they're talking about a war. Um, and they're using an ironic tone to like show that it's not all bad and that it's kind, but in doing so, it just seems like horrible to every member of the family, um, the children, the wives, the widows, the mothers, parents.
Wow, you guys got very long answers. Should I also
Um,
expand my answer?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Next question.
Are there any details um, that make us doubt that message? And so in my answer, I wrote, that's like my own idea. So if yours is totally different than mine, I don't know. I mean, like, you can just say whatever. So are there any details that make us doubt the message? I wrote no. I don't know why. The primary idea in the poem is the phrase "war is kind." Um, the fact that it appears in the title as well as numerous times in the poem suggests its significance. Let me just start that message. Um, um, yeah, that's all I wrote. Do you
Okay.
guys want me to read the question out again?
It's okay. I can see the question. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for me, it's something that is making me doubt about uh, the message will be what it says, war is kind, which is like the last line of the first stanza and also other stanzas. Because like, how can you compare kindness with war? Like, how can you relate those two? Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, because like, for me, when I think of war, I think of fights and fights, anger, blood, killing, and there's no there's nothing fair in war. As long as you can kill the other one and win, that's all that matters. But kindness, someone who's kind, like, I cannot think, it's unthinkable to see a kind soldier killing, right? It's not possible. That must be an LDS soldier then. And so, yeah, because of just that, war is kind, it made me doubt about the message that was obvious to me.
That's a good one. Oh, can I just expand a little bit on my answer? Sorry. The reason I wrote no was um because they went to war and then they fought and then like it's a war is kind because like it it just like wait, sorry. Like they instead of like making them struggle in fighting and in the battlefield and everything, like it's better to just for them to just die instantly. I don't know how to explain it. The reason I said that war is kind was because um just a sec, sorry, I'll be right back. Uh, it brings death which ends suffering. Like it's better for them to die than for them to suffer while fighting in war. That's why I think that war is kind. But yeah, it's also bad. War can also be bad because loved ones, um, soldiers are they die during war and they leave their loved ones behind. That's why it can also be bad. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Sorry. Continue.
No, that's good.
What do you think, Devita?
Because my real first answer, like what I have written down, is shorter than your written down answer. My first answer is war is kind. So because he says that a lot, so I was like, oh, that's his obvious message. Because in order to find out that it's not kind, it's you have to read kind of like deeper into the poem. And so this is my long answer because it's like everything that shows how war is not kind is is all the details that make me doubt that. But but I wanted to talk about because they repeat this part. Um, the field where a thousand corpses lie, and these men were born to drill and die. 'Cause those seemed like the most depressing parts of the poem. Um, because what's sad is um, I don't mean to like go against you guys' issues or like anything that was said before. Um, but like that's the bad part about war is the men are the only guys that die and are like free from that pain, and then the babies and the maidens and the mothers have to like just live without it. And so that was one detail, and the other detail was like that's what men are for. Like they're born to just run military drills and use war to kill each other. And when you were talking about how is killing someone kind, and the first thing that came to mind, I was like, man, there's lots of examples of how killing could be kind. Um, but then it drove me to that line in the poem where it says, "Make plain to them the excellence of killing." And I was like, man, already I'm having like war movies and like scriptures that I can think of Moses killing Israelites, Moses killing the rest, like all of these things that made killing like the righteous way to kill. Can you hear me? None of you guys can hear me.
We can, but like I have to move closer to hear you because it's like so low.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Like loud and clear? Do I
Yeah.
have to say all of that again?
It's kind of like like it's echoing or something. Is your door open or something?
No?
Oh, okay. Never mind. Just continue. We can hear you.
Uh, I don't want to say all of that again.
No, no, no. Like, yeah, we got the rest of it. We can just watch the video again.
Yeah, I hope it comes out loud on that. But yeah, so like they show a lot of specific details that explain how war is not kind. And since like my main point that he said in the beginning was that war is kind, because my main point differs from your guys' main point is why my answer, it's like saying the same thing you guys are saying, but it's like war is kind is what he's saying, and this is where it differs. So it's the complete opposite of Manu's.
Yeah, like he can be kind and unkind at the same time. Like when we had to paraphrase and then write the summary and then like try and compare the two summaries. Like we had similarities with the Crane's summary, kinda a little bit. Okay, that's not important. Continue. Yeah.
No, that was
Are
it.
we done?
I'm done. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm
Thank
very
you.
sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Guys, like this, maybe.
we can hear you. So,
All right.
Manu, do you have anything else to say?
Uh, well, yeah, it's like we, like the three of us have our own answers, which is fair.
Yeah, I was also
From,
like,
from, yeah,
I
from one
was,
another, and
yeah.
I like that. We don't always have to agree.
No, yeah, I get it. I mean, like, I was also 50-50. I was like it's also kind and it's unkind at the same time. So I'm 50-50. I'm like in the middle. Because war can be kind and war can also be unkind.
All right, just so we're on the same page. So me and Manu are on the same. Like we both think the same thing, but so Manu's first answer is my second answer, and Manu's second answer is my first answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it.
Okay,
Okay.
next question.
So the next question is, how do the images of war make you feel about war? Images of war. Should I answer first? So for me, when I think about so this is from my own point of view. When I think about war, I think about bloodshed, fighting, struggle, suffering, death of multitudes of people. Um, and it affects everyone around us physically and mentally. Um, also, um, so firstly, how do the images make you feel about war? So I really hate wars. Make you feel about war. Therefore, because I hate wars because frick, this is so hard. Can one of you two just start?
Yeah.
Then I will just.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, when I picture war, I don't know. I watched a documentary about the Korean War, right? And I saw the videos, and so like when I read that question, it made me think back of the video that I just watched, and the images I have right in mind is destruction, poverty, and and animosity. And so the way I feel about that, all right, is sadness and also uh, I feel compassion towards all the innocent people who didn't do anything wrong, but it's just political, when a war starts. And I mean, to me, it's really sad, sad, sad. But if I like, what is happiness in war? I think, like maybe who are the good people in a war? I don't really
Secondly, I
know.
was wondering if this was your room or not.
Oh, who's that? Right. I think of the Savior Jesus Christ. All right. I never saw him fighting with his fist. I only saw him blessing people and healing. And so thinking of war, yeah, it just makes me feel sad, 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 sad. That's all I can say.
Cool. I mean, not cool because you feel sad, but I'll just go. Um, the line that painted like what war looks like to me is where it says a field where 1,000 corpses lie. Um, just because that's what wars are. It's not like anyone has time to pick up the dead while they're dying. So you have to fight all the way until a winner is decided. And so there's every war that ever happened is literally like just a field that's riddled with corpses. And and I just took like the lie as in like lying down, but they also lying to people because um they have this flag, this regiment eagle with crest of red and gold, and that's supposed to be like worth dying for. And 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 it's weird because like I think the American flag is worth dying for. I think America is worth dying for. Um, but at the same time, like I don't think that wars these when you put like one flag on a field that's just covered with dead bodies, you don't think it's worth it anymore. Like it's like you could have been at home um with the mother that's crying, the babe that's crying, the maiden that's crying, and actually comforting them, but instead you're fighting for a stick and some cloth. And and I don't know. War just will always make you think that maybe we made the wrong choice, choosing what we're loyal to.
Thank you, Davita.
Thank you, guys. Okay. How do the animal make you feel about war? Can I start again from the beginning? So, I hate wars because of the bloodshed, fighting, struggle, suffering, and deaths of multitudes of people, and it affects everyone around us physically and mentally. Um, Firstly, the military personnel subject to combat in war often suffer mental and physical injuries, including depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, disease, injury, and death. That's one of the reasons why I hate war. So when military guys, when they get back home, they usually suffer a lot. Um, especially mental problems, and they get depressed a lot. The second reason why I hate war, because a lot of people, they get killed, there's significant loss of life, along with destruction of infrastructure and resources, um, which may lead to famine, disease, and death. The third reason why war isn't good is because um, it destroys the economy. Like when people have to go to war, they have to pay a lot, right, to buy rifles and to take the military people from one place to another place. And plus, it also destroys the economy in a way that buildings would be damaged when a war happens. People have to get their lives together. They lose their homes, they lose their livelihood, and everything that that also goes. Um, I've always hated war. I remember my dad used to talk about the World War I and two, because he likes to watch all those kind of stuff about wars. And I hope that we would never have any war in our time. Um, but in Stephen Crane's poem, he had painted a good image of war, a good and also a bad image. Um, the idea that war is kind is sharply contrasted by severely specific scenes of death and suffering. The only way that war is kind is that it brings death, which ends suffering. So when a lot of people go to war, they suffer a lot, right? Um, Trying to fight for their country, trying to defend the ones that they love. So it's better for them to just die out there instead of like getting hit on the leg and then they still have to continue on fighting. Um, or like they have to, some of them, even though they get hit and stuff, they leave, but then they suffer depression. So war is can be bad and it can be good, because yeah, it's good for them to just die when they're out there. But then it can be bad because the loved ones that they leave behind will suffer the most. For example, the last stanza where it says, "Mother whose heart hung humble as a button on the bright splendid shroud of your son, do not weep, war is kind." So even though her son's suffering had ended, the mother is left behind, and she's the one that's gonna suffer. She's the one that's gonna forever think about her son and the good things he would have done if he was alive. And so she raised him up to be a good man, and he went and fight the war. And then instead of him coming home, he's never gonna come home again. And then she has to live by herself or with her family, and she's gonna forever think about him. So those are some of the reasons why I think war are good and why they're bad. Yeah, that's how I feel about war. So the next question,
Yep.
are the images of kindness or unkindness?
So I think they're unkind because um I don't know how much. I think there's probably some soldiers in where it says little souls who thirst for fight. There's probably some soldiers who really, are looking forward to killing each other. Um, but the rest of the second to last stanza, after but from these men were born to drill and die, on the second to last stanza, it's an image um that like people are objects, and they're supposed to be used and and exploited, and when you're done with them you throw them away because they're just born to drill and die. And point for them the virtue of slaughter. um it's negative because it's like it's trying to find virtue, which is like this great Christ-like thing, um, in slaughtering people, and not like the slaughter is just a horrible, um, because it's not just killing at that point. It's like killing in a very ugly way, and then make plain to them the excellence of killing. It's like they teach it in schools that like you want to kill these people or you want to kill those people. So I think the images are unkind because it's almost like he's trying to brainwash us, but since it's an ironic tone, um, like he's just trying to let us see that we're being brainwashed, and that it's unkind. Let me-
Okay. So for me, I see a lot of unkindness, like of images of unkindness in the reading, like just like Tevita, and also like for example, like what it says, uh, thirst for fight. All right, you know, thirst for fight. Wow, that's really strong. It's very deep because whenever I feel very thirsty, then I will be looking for water. I will even run to find maybe to go to Foodland and buy a drink. I don't know, something like that. But I'm so thirsty. But those people, it's not even thirst for water, but just for fight, meaning killing, hurting somebody. Like they really wanted to do it. And just thinking about that, it is time. And there's a lot of other examples. All right. So and that's one image of kindness that I can also see. I don't know if it's related to that, but it's like just the first sentence. Do not weep, maiden, for war is kind. So a maiden, I'm guessing it's a woman, and it makes me think of like a girl or a baby. I don't know, a girl crying, and like I feel sad like whenever I see someone crying, and especially if it's a girl, makes me want to comfort her, right? And the only way to bring comfort to that person is to say something nice, something kind, like the first sentence. Don't cry. It will be okay. For war is kind. Don't worry about it. It's like he's trying to say in the very beginning. He's trying to say, "Don't worry. Once this is over, it will be okay." Yeah, that's what I can say.
Thank you. Yeah, I also have the same thought. I also think that it's unkind. Like what I had said before about the last sentence, where the last stanza, mother whose heart hung humble as a button on the bright splendid shroud of your son. Do not weep, war is kind. I mean, war, war is, war is not, no, war is not kind. War is so unkind. Um, but um, the reason I think it's unkind because, like what I had said before, the mother had to suffer because now the son is gone. And I also think it's kind because now the son's suffering is over. He doesn't have to fight no more. He doesn't have to like go out and fight for his people. Now he's dead and he can rest in peace. I feel like when Crane had said war is kind, he's like it's as if he's using irony there, especially when in the first stanza when he had talked about don't cry maiden, no, not don't cry maiden, don't weep maiden, but war is kind. um I mean, war is not kind in any way. It's like so bad. But I feel like most of his sentences, they're like all like irony. Yeah. So yeah, I support both of your answers that it's unkind and it can be kind too. My point of view. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions? No?
Nope.
Okay. Should I read the next question? So
Yeah.
the next question is, what does all this tell us about the poem's attitude or tone towards war? What is this? What does all this tell us about the poem's attitude or tone towards war?
That it's bad. Hello. Yeah, that it's bad. Like you said, like it's ironic. I think he has an ironic tone. Um, or like even a sarcastic tone. Um, he says war is kind, and then he paints these really bad pictures of what war is, and then just says war is kind. So not only is war bad, but his tone is gives it another like it gives it kind of like a hypocritical point of view because everybody who says war is kind are aware that this is what's going on in war. So how can they keep saying that war is kind? I think that's my answer. Yep.
Yeah. What does I also think the yeah, his tone, he used a lot of verbal the irony thing, verbal irony. Um it it can be seen also like he's also sarcastic in some of his sentence, his attitude about war. Crane sharply contrasted by several specific scenes of oh Crane develops a tone of the poem one of verbal irony. Um, I feel he was also sympathetic in some parts. In the first stanza where he had said, "Do not weep, maiden, for war is kind." He was sympathetic to the people, but he was also sarcastic at the same time. The irony behind his words in most of his sentences, like it was all ironic. And uh, mm, yeah, that's all I can say. His attitude and his tone towards war was all ironic, verbal irony.
Yeah. So I agree with you guys. Sarcasm, irony, like that's like the tone of the poem, and also like you can see also by the the words that he chose to use in his poem. You know, like when, for example, when he says the virtue of slaughter. No slaughter. That's murdering somebody. That's killing. Like, and you slaughter cows, animals, but not people. And he put virtue before that. And virtue, you know, like the young woman, they have different virtues that they have to work on. Something like virtues is something pure, right? And so right there, that's one evidence that he's being sarcastic. And when he says also the excellence of killing. You know, like when I think of excellence, that means something great, awesome, incredible. But he puts killing right after that, so that's also this is another evidence. And I think he's also trying to be religious in the second stanza, where he uses God, like battle God and great kingdom. So he's trying, to be very sarcastic, and I don't know if we're supposed to laugh at that point. It doesn't make me want to laugh at all. Yeah, done.
Thank you.
Cute.
Is there one more question? Oh, it's finished. We're done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that enough to write the essay?
Yep, that's enough. Thank you, guys.
All right. Gonna go off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bye. Mahalo.